Hello, my name is Brittany Deigh. I am a psychic medium and spiritual teacher. My divine purpose is to assist in the expansion of the collective consciousness and to help you become more connected with the divine. This is a space to remember all that you truly are and ignite the possibilities of your highest potential. Hello, and welcome back for another episode on the Addicted Household Recovery. So today I'm going to talk about the logic of the addicted mind. You know, it's very interesting having the experience of watching someone deep in substance abuse and addiction and watching someone else not in substance abuse, but in their own denial and addiction about this addicted person, you know? And then now I'm over here facing my own addiction and I'm like, and substance abuse. And I'm like, fuck, like, damn, dude, now I get what you were saying. Because, you know, this was the other day, and this had been kind of creeping up for quite some time. You know, I guess let's just start here. I was going to make a whole episode about this, but let's just go ahead and start here. It's flowing. Let's go. So how this all kind of started, why I decided to get sober was because whenever I got pregnant with my daughter, this is hard to share. When I got pregnant with my daughter, you know, the first thing, even my brother said, you know, no more smoking. Like, you got to kick it. And I did immediately. I mean, it was like an immediate reaction. Like, I can't smoke. And I didn't for 7 weeks. And I guess the logic in my head, I don't know. I had a friend tell me I was worried about, because she was pregnant and she hit a bowl whenever this was like, you know, I think 4 or 5 months beforehand, before I was pregnant, I was smoking. And she was like, I mean, they really only drug test you on the first appointment. So it's just kind of like a little bit here and there is not a big deal. And I was like, wow, that was really interesting. Like, that wasn't what I would have expected, you know, especially from this person. But I was like, yeah, I guess a little bit of anything, like a little glass of wine, a little whatever, can't affect, you know, can't get that deep in your bloodstream. Anyways, the fucking logic. It's hilarious looking back now how we convince ourselves and co-sign our own bullshit, and how I get other people to, you know, I'm like, oh, well, because she said that one time, then like I can just start smoking again after my first ultrasound. Like, what the fuck, Brittany? So anyways, when I had my first ultrasound or my first doctor's appointment at 7 weeks, and I kid you not, guys, it was like I went to the appointment and it was like I was just burning and yearning to get out of there. And well, I was present with the ultrasound, but like as soon as that was done and I got what I wanted there, it was like, all right, I'm ready to get home and fucking hit the bowl. It's been over a month, you know, it's been a minute. It was 7 weeks, and I felt so much shame from that point on. Like marijuana served me, and alcohol both served me for a long time. They were helpful to me. They were a support to me. They were a tool to me. They were, you know, especially marijuana was a way for me to connect. Like, I could go over, that was one of my biggest things in high school, is I was so alone growing up in an addicted household. My emotional needs were like hardly ever met. And so, that was my tool, is I would roll up a joint and be able to go sit down with a big group of friends and be like, hey, you guys want to smoke a joint? And it was like automatic, like, oh, fuck yeah, you're going to smoke us up? Like, yeah, we'll hang out and talk to you. And that just became my avenue, as well as alcohol, as my means of connecting. And so anyways, I go home, you know, and it's just burning sensation. And I go home and I finally smoke and I'm like, oh, sweet relief. And I swore that I was just going to like smoke that one time. And then I was going to go like another 7, 10, 12 weeks not smoking again. Well, I fucking did it again the next day and the next day. And then the next thing you know, I'm like right fucking back in it. And I'm like, getting other people to co-sign my bullshit. And then like eventually, in such deep denial, basically convincing myself that it's not that big of a deal and that society is the one that makes it a big deal and blah, blah, blah. When it's like, dude, there's no way that you smoking and your lungs being full of smoke is any way beneficial for you or your daughter. That's just, and her development. It's just, looking back, and that's why this is like really fucking hard to admit. This episode's probably going to be really hard for me to release. Because that's really hard to say, and I'm just going to have to make amends with my daughter when she's really able to receive that, because it was so selfish of me. It has been so selfish of me. Even once, she was birthed, still smoking around her. It's fucking selfish. And so, I realized, that's when I realized, okay, I'm powerless over this. This is beyond me. This is something that, and even now as I'm quitting, I have my hypnotherapy appointment coming up this weekend, and that's whenever I am really going to be, solidifying, like no more. This is me like kind of weaning myself, I guess. Who fucking knows what fucked up logic that is? Anyways, as I sit here and say, stop everything and get sober. This is how the disease fucking works. But it really is like, it's something that I am trying to by myself right now. And that's why I'm getting support. That's why I'm getting help. And if that doesn't work, then I'm just going to have to go to the next thing to get help. And if that means stopping literally everything and going to a recovery center, that's what the fuck that means. I have to face this. Like, I've got to heal this, and it's not just about me. And so anyways, that's when the shame really started. I mean, I'm sure that it was always feeding my shame to some extent, because I started whenever I was 13 years old, primarily to socialize, primarily to have something to connect with my brother. He sold weed. So it was like, whenever he was like, oh, Britt started smoking weed, it was like something for us to talk about, and I didn't really get much connection with him or with really anyone in my household. And so that was a major thing. And the people, being able to commune with people was a big thing. And so I'm sure it was feeding my shame little by little over the years. But like, once I was pregnant with my daughter and I figured out that I couldn't stop, and I knew, like, I started realizing, like, whoa, like, we're trying and we're still not, and I want to just preface with the fact that I did stop smoking right after my Kundalini awakening. This was in 2018. I stopped smoking for 7 months. And why was because the vibrational frequency of marijuana and alcohol, both, where I was residing, I had just gone through my, like, God realized moment, and I was residing, my frequency was fucking floating. I was high, like on my own supply, on God's supply. And I just noticed that, like, marijuana, it would just bring me down if I hit and I was just like, this is just not, I'm on a spiritual high right now, and I want to ride out the spiritual high. I don't want to keep bringing myself down. And then I guess 7 months later, I felt guided to pick weed back up as a grounding force. And I still stayed pretty floaty, and pretty like on a spiritual high for like a good another year after that. But I did start smoking here and there again. And so anyways, what happened was that, I realized that this is beyond me. This is something that, I see now why they say powerless over this. I don't ever think that we're truly powerless, but maybe I'm about to fucking be put in my place, right? As I go through this journey, but I remember I was already feeling the shame. and realizing that I was in denial, that this really affects my life in a not supportive, beneficial way anymore. And then whenever this just happened like a week or two ago. I have no idea when I'll release this episode, but we're going to still be recording. Just about a week or two ago, well, I started noticing it a lot more frequently in general. And then I decided, I'm like, I need to get sober. This is not working for me. I was going through a lot of generational ancestral stuff with my family, and like, you know, realizing that we really need to heal from our journey with addiction, you know, or at least I need to heal from my journey being in an addicted household. And I'm having all these, you know, breaking me open moments, and I realized that I needed to cut it out. And then as I'm like having this awareness over it, I'm finding myself like having that like, just fucking hit it. I just need a hit, you know. It's fucked up, dude. Like when you really, it's so irritating. I'm having it right now, to be totally honest. But I decided I'm going to come record instead of go hit the bowl. So I'm trying to do different things. And so what I realized was that I'm walking around the house, and that's what it was. I was going to pick up my daughter, and I have to be there at 6:00. I had, 40 minutes after my last appointment with my client. So I had like a little 10-minute window, 30-minute drive, 10-minute window to get myself together to leave. And I fucking couldn't find my phone. Well, actually, preface, I hit the bowl after my last meeting, and then I'm getting ready to leave, and I couldn't find my phone. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I am like spinning in circles around my house trying to find my phone, right? And I'm getting so frustrated because now I'm past the 10-minute zone. Now I'm going to be late to pick her up. You know, we're going to like 15 minutes now, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then finally, I go upstairs. I have no idea why I felt called to go upstairs in my bathroom. I didn't think my phone would be up there. I thought maybe it'd be in my bedroom upstairs. But I'm looking at myself in the mirror, and I'm just like, really, Brittany? Like, are we really still fucking doing this shit? Like, you don't see how this is unmanageable? Like, you don't see how this is a problem here? And then I look down, and on my fucking chest is my fucking cell phone. Sitting in my flannel pocket. I forgot I was wearing a flannel, so I didn't have pockets, on the low, down by my hips. It was on my chest, and I totally forgot it was a really thick flannel, so I just stuck it down in there. I thought the weight was just from the weight of the flannel. And I remember looking in that mirror just so like, what the fuck is happening right now? What is this? And I said to myself, like, I'm so fucking tired of this shit. I'm so tired of this shit. And I remember whenever I dropped my brother off at rehab, which that's a whole story. That weekend is a whole story in itself, and will be, I'm sure, at some point in another episode. But I remember being in the car, and he's like grabbing the drugs, and he's like stuffing them in different places, so that way I guess he can have some inside, and this and that. And we're having like a pretty real conversation, even though he's like, obviously he's been using all weekend. He just overdosed. I think it was like 4 or 5 times in the last 3 or 4 days. Like it was bad. It was really, really bad situation. And he looks at me. He looks over at me in the passenger seat, tilts his head, looks over at me, and he goes, do you know how fucking done I am with this shit, Brittany? Like, you're done with this shit. Because I think that's what I said to him. Like, dude, get your fucking shit together. Lovingly, get your fucking shit together. Like, I'm done with this. I'm done picking you up, taking you to rehab. I'm done. Like, as I'm sitting there saying, right, that I'm done doing it while I'm doing it. That's where my fucking denial and codependency is. Because guarantee you, if he would have left a week later, like, I probably would have still fucking picked him up the next week and taken it. Like, that's my problem. Anyways, I'm like telling him I'm fucking done with this shit, and he looks over at me like dead ass, and he's like, you're fucking done with this shit? Like, look at me, Brittany. Like, I'm fucking done with this shit. And I did not get it. I'm like sitting there, and I'm like, you're choosing this. Like, I'm seeing, like, in my head, I'm like, you're choosing this. Like, why are you playing such a victim to this shit that you keep doing this? You keep stepping into the cycle. And it's really incredible how we can humanize our abusers and humanize those that we once looked down upon, you know? When we're sitting in their fucking shoes. Because I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I literally just intuitively say to myself, I'm so fucking done with this shit. And then boom, there was just a glimpse of my brother's face looking over at me like, you're fucking done with this shit? Like, I'm fucking done with this shit. And I think you truly have to get to a point where you really are just fucking done with your own shit. And that's where it's like you surrender and you admit this is unmanageable. This is something that I'm powerless to. This is something that I don't have. Me, Brittany, I don't have it. I that's really hard for me to admit and really own, but I don't have it. And now I get why God is the only one that can heal that, and the only one that can solve that is because I keep trying to do it in all my different ways of doing it. And I don't have a fucking wrangle on it. Like, I'm trying to manage it and it's just a mess everywhere. It's spilling everywhere. And so anyways, this happens, right? And I'm like, all right, I need to fucking book this session. I'm going this weekend, like da-da-da-da. I'm just done. I'm just done with my own shit. And then, you know, this situation happens with my partner. And then we start getting into it, right? And that just happens in relationship. Like, no matter what, neither if it's a close relationship, close friend, fam, whatever, like, shit happens. And we start getting into it. And then I literally say to myself, dude, it's so insane. I say to myself, maybe I should wait. Maybe I shouldn't go do this weekend, because that's, you know, then I'm going to be, you know, who knows? I don't know. Like, I don't know. Hopefully, you know, the hypnotherapy thing is supposed to, you don't have like the burning sensation, you know, the craving. That's what it's really for. But, you know, regardless, it's like, I'm going to be going through such a major shift and major change. I can't remember being sober. The last time I was sober, I was 12, you know? So it's like, I can't remember being sober. I don't know what's about to happen. I don't know what's about to go down. And what I said to myself was like, oh, maybe I should sort this out, get this back to stabilized, and then I'll go do the thing. Maybe I'll just wait till next weekend. We'll just like sort this out and then I'll address this. And then I'm fucking sitting there and I'm like, yo, dude, this is exactly how my brother got trapped. Like, I can see it now. Like, I can see, and this is humanizing, you know, those that have hurt you and have mistreated you. It's like, now I'm in his fucking shoes. And it's like, I'm sitting there saying to myself, let me, you know, fix this like barely tip of the iceberg problem, when this problem is rooting from the fucking addiction. It was rooting from the codependency. Like, that's why there's a problem here, is because of this. So that's why this episode is stop everything and get sober. Like, you're going to continue your little demons behind you, right? The ones that want to keep the powerlessness alive, the ones that want to keep your disconnection from your higher power alive. These are, you know, kind of like, I believe, negative entities in a sense. They are the negative, the evil, the harmful in this world. And they've got a part of your consciousness captured, and they don't want to let go of that. That's their power. They work through you. And so they're going to come, when you start trying to get sober, they're going to come in hot. They're going to, and I'll talk more as I continue to share my sobriety journey, but it's like, they're going to be coming over your shoulder like, oh, let's just handle this first, and then maybe we can address the sobriety thing. Then maybe we can stop the substance abuse. And it's like, that's how you get caught in the cycle, is because you never go to the core. You just keep band-aiding and saying, oh, this thing, if I fix this thing, then I'll address this. Then it's like gets to put on the fucking to-do list, that thing that's been rolling over on your to-do list for the last 8 months, you know? And really the core problem is the addiction, is the codependency, that is where your toxicity and all of these other things are just mirror reflections and where the poison has poured into. So you can keep trying to fucking grab your paper towels and wipe down all the poison in your relationships and in your career and in your da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But the reality is that if you don't stop the addiction, if you don't stop the codependency bullshit, if you don't address this, then it's just going to keep spewing and you're just going to keep grabbing paper towels and wiping shit up for it to just turn around and be spilled on again. So stop everything and just get sober. And then that's whenever things will start heading in the trajectory that you're really wanting and desiring. And that's really in alignment with your authentic truth and who you truly are, your real, honest, genuine self. All of these masks and layers and, you know, poison, this spilling, and here's the thing, I just want to be totally clear, is that like, we're talking about substance abuse here. I think that there are sacred medicines that have their time and place. I think that there is, you know, I think marijuana really can help people heal. I grew marijuana out in California for years, and the amount of people that medicine helped heal was unreal. I would watch it. Like, I could see people's healing process over the years by smoking the weed that I grew, you know? So it's like, I'm not saying that this is for everybody. I'm just saying, if you know when you're listening to this fucking resonates and you're like, damn, my codependency is unmanageable. My addiction to this or that, whether it's sugar, coffee, food, hoarding, if it's items, it doesn't matter. I have a familiarity with substance abuse because that's what's in my DNA. That's what's on my genetic line. That's what I came here to cycle stop. But addiction goes way further. Codependency, it's way big. But if you know that it's unmanageable, this is affecting my life, it's toxic poison being poured into my life in all of these different areas, then it's beyond you. And stop trying to clean up the areas and just go get sober. And that may mean, if it's not substance abuse, if it's hoarding or something along those lines, or a love addiction, or go take care, whatever it is, go take care of the core problem. Stop trying to band-aid it. It's just making the whole process like so much longer. It's just dragging everything out. So I hope that you get from this episode how your mind will play games with you, how these honestly negative, dark energies that have a grip on part of your consciousness, on part of your spirit and your soul, how they will try and convince you and talk you out of doing what's really highest and best and most authentic and most true to who you truly are at the core. This illness is about purifying your soul. And these energies, these dark energies, have been passed on spiritually, or they could be. Not every family, but a lot of the time they're passed on from the previous generations. And if you don't want your children, like Gaia is my biggest fucking motivation, my family. If you don't want your children to be experiencing this bullshit, then stop everything and just go get sober. Stop saying after this or after that, or dude, it's insane the amount of times that I've been with my brother, and he said that he was going to get sober. He said he was going to go to rehab or whatever it is. And we have, just after this, I just got to stop and do this. And then, oh, wait, Britt, just please drive me right over here. I got to stop and go to the, and there's all these, and I didn't realize in the moment, I had no idea. I didn't have enough. Now I'm in a totally different place and totally understand and can wrap my head around it in a way more clear place. But I didn't realize that was these dark energies pulling, convincing that this is more important and this is more important and this is more important and this has to be addressed and you got to get this and da-da. Anything they can put in front of you getting to your true self, getting to your true soul, they will fucking try it. So I'm really excited to share with you guys about the hypnotherapy thing. I really hope that takes the burning craving, that sensation. I really hope that it kicks it. But if not, either way, that is going to be my motherfucking sobriety date. Let's see, that's Saturday. So that's 1/7/23. That's interesting. I wonder what that's going to represent. 1/7/23 is my commitment. And we're fucking doing it. I'm not playing around. I'm not playing around anymore. Fucking stop everything and get sober. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you enjoyed that episode. Please subscribe, leave a review, and if this was impactful for you at all, please share it with others. This is how we can help each other. Much love and namaste.